Great marriage until my wife dies, realized infidelity after she died, swept it under the rug for the kids' sake, now it's back to haunt me. My so, an extrovert, and I, an introvert, started dating in our late 20s and have been together ever since. We'd had enough of one-night stand-ups and dishonest business partners by this point. We were married 3 years after that. As best friends who couldn't seem to keep our hands off one another. We had a great time together, DNA left in 4 countries and half the states. On the occasion of my so's 3rd or 4th birthday, I gave her with a ring box including a note asking that she cease her birth control in order for us to have a child together. She sprang into my arms and kissed me so hard that I stumbled and went on the ground on the floor. She was the happiest I'd ever seen her, and it was contagious. In the bedroom, she escorted me away from the bed, which was disgusting, and into the toilet, where we flushed her remaining pills. During the next 5 years, we lost 3 pregnancies to complications. This really pained us both, and as a result of our discussion, we decided to adopt. Although the operation is time-consuming, we were able to witness the birth of our daughter when we were in our 40s. Her pupil had re-emerged with a gleam in it. My so's mother was the loveliest, most compassionate woman I'd ever met, and the 8 years that followed were wonderful. Every single one of our friends complimented me on my good fortune. A vasectomy was recommended to me by my significant other, so when I was 50 years old, in order to limit the likelihood of another unexpected pregnancy, I ended up getting ill a week before my snip/snip, so I had to postpone it. The next week, my significant other became ill with the same illness as myself. Despite my best efforts, she refused to go to the hospital, where she had a stroke and fell into a coma, which I managed to bring her out of. 6 horrible days later, she succumbed to her injuries. Em and I were both devastated by the news. It took her about a year before she was able to sleep in her own bed. She expressed anxiety that I would join her in her absence. I received 2 credit card invoices in her name shortly after. We always had common finances. The cumulative balance on both cards was just shy of $14,000. With the vast bulk of the funds coming from cash advances on both cards, I sent for all of the back statements. This prompted me to think back on the previous year. The quality of my life declined from once a week or twice a week to once or twice a month, with me delivering, but not getting head but no penetration. Aside from that, she had a number of fresh foreplay movements she hadn't attempted before. Over the same time, we went from talking about everything at dinner to hardly speaking at all by the end of the year. She ultimately stopped communicating with me completely. Even though we just had a landline with 2 phones, she was always receiving unusual late calls, and the caller ID register was continuously being cleared off. Completely not normal. Her improvement from having a women night once every week or 2 to having a ladies night twice weekly was evident by the end of the year. By the end of the year, her ladies night clothing had gone from jeans and a sweatshirt to a more formal ensemble. She would even have her hair done every now and then. Then in the mail, I got definitive confirmation of her affair for the 2nd time. I was blissfully oblivious of what was going on and really enjoyed my one-on-one time with them. Playtime, bath time, chasing her around the house till she went to sleep, story time, and kissing her on the forehead goodbye are all things I look forward to. After a few years of grieving and worrying, my company offered me a job in a different location, which I accepted. I just swept everything under the rug, and we were on our way. Let's fast forward 10 years, and I start having these really vivid dreams that I remember for days on end. In their room, my so would be dressed beautifully, dancing and enjoying her AP, then walk in front of me and strip in front of me, tossing their clothes on me like I was then screw in front of me and laugh at my misery. It was only after that I sought help from an IC, who advised me that I had never obtained closure over my so's adultery. M, 22, and I, 64, had just retired and wished to return to our hometown. Given that I still don't know who the AP is and that I don't want to be cordial to the jerk who abandoned my wife, I'm nervous about the situation. I'd be surprised if AP didn't happen to be one of our circle of friends. I also don't want M to get enamored with someone who has betrayed her mother. What do I do if so's closest friend has a question regarding AP? She would be well aware of this. Is it necessary for me to go through this again? I'm obsessed once again, and I thought I'd reached the end of the road. Please inform me of any changes. Story 2. I, female 39, met with a woman, female 25, who says she's my husband's, male 35, mistress. She showed me proof and everything. I don't know what to do now. I'm in a state of shock. I'm entirely and utterly devastated. I'm at a loss on what to do. Every time I think about it, I start to cry. I'm unable to think straight right now since I'm in such distress. Therefore, I'm in desperate need of advice. For the last 8 years, I've been married to my husband. A boy, 8 years old, and a girl, 4 years old, are the 2 children in our family. My husband travels to the same city on a regular basis for business. Every month, he takes a week or more off work to recharge his batteries. However, he adores his work and has done so for a long time, so it has been tough for me to be without him while he is away. I was worried that he might cheat while he was away, but I eventually convinced myself to put my faith in him. I got an email from a woman who claimed to have been seeing my husband for many years, which I responded to the next day. She advised me that if I were to meet with her, she would want to talk with me about something. I agreed since my inquisitiveness had gotten the better of me. Today, I ran into her at Starbucks. Her voice was gentle, and she seemed to be nice on the surface, but she came across as snobbish and frigid in reality. He thought she was quite lovely, and he thought she had an accent from another country, and her evidence seemed unconvincing. Recently received messages in which he expressed his love for her and referred to her as beautiful and mine, calls from his phone number on her call log, images of gifts he's given her, photos from a vacation they took together while my husband was away on a business trip, and even a photo of them in bed together were all displayed to me. I suppose he doesn't want her to take photos of him since his face isn't visible in them, but the tattoos on his chest are clearly evident in the images. She claims that he has purchased her an apartment and that he now lives with her. She informed him that she had a child who refers to him as Dad. She went so far as to claim that the bracelet and ring she was wearing were his. I tried not to weep as she told me everything that had happened. She told me that she was in a bad mood and that she had decided to confess to me as a consequence. Furthermore, she had to drive for 5 hours to get there. This was something I was absolutely ignorant of. With the exception of a few nagging thoughts in the back of my mind, I had no significant doubts. I would not have known about the expensive gifts or the expensive apartment if it had not been for the fact that my husband feels I am too dumb to understand money and does not include me in any financial choices. I go out of my way to be of assistance to him. I prepare meals, clean, and take care of everything he requests before he goes to bed. All I've ever wanted from him is for him to be a good husband and have a family. I don't believe I'm deserving of it. I've put in so much effort to be the best version of myself for him, and I'm devastated. My want to break free from him is strong, yet I'm unable to do it since I would be nothing if I did not have him. I'm completely lost on what to do. I'm not even sure I have the confidence to speak to him face to face. I haven't heard from him in a few hours, so I'm assuming he is certain that everything is well.